Welcome, colleagues, to this explainer. If you've stepped into the faculty room lately, you've probably heard the debates and, honestly, the confusion surrounding DepEd Order Number 015, Series of 2026. The shift to a 3-term calendar brings a whole wave of new rules. It's totally understandable if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by the sheer volume of paperwork right now. But today, we're going to clear the air. Think of me as your classroom policy translator. We'll break down exactly what changed, what it means for your daily teaching, and what you need to do next.
So, the big question, did DepEd just change the way grades are computed? Well, the short answer is yes, the system has fundamentally changed. We're shifting away from older practices like heavy grade transmutation and those tiered honors toward a system that measures actual competency. But please, don't worry. You absolutely do not need to read through hundreds of pages of legal text to get this right. I'm going to guide you safely and simply through the updates so you can walk into your classroom tomorrow with complete confidence.
Before we jump in, just a quick professional reminder. This explainer is a simplified translation of the policy designed specifically for teacher understanding. For official implementation, you should always refer to the full DepEd order and your specific division memorandum.
Okay, here is our MindSpark Policy Guide briefing outline for today. We'll be looking at 1. The 2026 System Update. 2. Less paperwork, safer classrooms. 3. The new assessment limits. 4. Computing the final grades. 5. Who gets academic honors. And finally, 6. Your teacher action checklist. Let's get started.
Let's start with Section 1, the 2026 System Update. This school year brings sweeping changes that go way beyond just report cards. It actually shifts how we nourish, protect, and prepare our learners. For instance, let's look at DepEd Order 13. As teachers, we all know you simply cannot teach a child whose health and energy are running low. This order establishes a progressive transition for the school-based feeding program. Right now, in 2026, schools with logistical constraints can use a flexible, hybrid approach of hot meals and nutritious products. But the mandate is that by 2030, there will be universal, freshly prepared hot meals for all beneficiaries. Here's what this means for you as a teacher. This program specifically targets incoming kinder, grade 1, and vulnerable grade 2 to 6 learners for at least 120 feeding days. The goal is to ensure they actually have the stamina to sit in your class and learn. Moving on to Section 2. Less paperwork, safer classrooms. DepEd is officially reducing administrative burden while prioritizing the physical and mental health of your classroom.
Under DepEd Order 16, those old, exhausting, checklist-style lesson plans from DO 42 are officially a thing of the past. We're moving away from rigid, compliance-driven paperwork toward a flexible, context-responsive approach. In actual classroom practice, this changes things significantly. It frees up your schedule, allowing you to focus on actual instructional leadership rather than stressing over filling out the right forms.
And when it comes to safety, DepEd Order 14 introduces a crucial crisis response matrix for unexpected environmental hazards. It categorizes threat levels into high-O, high-E, high-A, and HINTO. For example, if learning hits the high-stress HINGA, or the red zone HINTO levels, teachers must actively halt or reschedule periodical exams. If a class suspension hits due to severe weather, you don't force the exam, you reschedule it when it's safe. The action line here is clear. Explicitly prioritize the psychological safety of both you and your students over strict academic demands.
All right, Section 3, the new assessment limits. This directly addresses the historic assessment overload we've all felt. DepEd Order 15 is here to protect both your energy and your students' time. To really master these new rules, we have to draw a hard line between our two main types of assessment. Formative assessment consists of your daily classroom activities, like recitations or practice exercises. This is where many teachers misunderstand the policy. Think of this as training mode, used specifically to monitor learning gaps. For example, if you notice during a group activity that students are struggling, you adjust your lesson mid-flight and re-explain the concept. So, the official action line here is simple. Stop using red pens on training mode tasks. Formative assessments should never be graded.
In actual classroom practice, this changes how we plan our entire terms. When it comes to graded summative assessments, DepEd has officially capped them. Looking at the maximum limits for a single term, you are restricted to 5 written works, 3 performance tasks, exactly 2 summative tests, and 1 term exam. The days of assigning 5 massive projects in a single quarter are over. By pacing out these summatives, we prevent teacher grading fatigue and keep our students from burning out.
Let's transition to Section 4, computing the final grades. We're looking at a monumental shift here, moving away from rote memorization and toward genuine, competency-based learning.
The revised assessment system emphasizes that accumulated scores are no longer the only metric that matters. You don't need to squint at dense pages of legal text to know that the computation has fundamentally shifted. Performance tasks and actual evidence of learning now carry significantly more weight.
Here's what this means for you as a teacher. For core subjects, the actual application of skills now heavily outweighs written quizzes. Performance tasks account for a massive 50% of the final grade. Exams make up 30%, and written works are down to just 20%. For example, in a grade 6 science class, a student's ability to demonstrate a concept through a project is now mathematically more important than their ability to memorize terms for a multiple-choice quiz. We also need to talk about the shift away from the old transmutation table. The old system often weakened the credibility of our grades through artificial inflation. For this current school year, DepEd is using an adjusted table to prevent that. Notice the mathematical shift here. Under the old system, a raw score of 84 could get a student a 90. Now they need nearly an 88 to hit that same 90. It is deliberately harder to get higher grades now, ensuring that reported achievement accurately reflects real learner performance.
Which brings us to Section 5, Who Gets Academic Honors? Over the summer, a viral rumor circulated claiming that students would now need a massive 95 general average just to qualify for honors. As you can imagine, this caused quite a bit of panic. The public backlash to that rumor was swift and, honestly, completely understandable. As one viral comment put it, demanding a 95 average in an overcrowded, under-resourced classroom with 60 students and no electric fan measures endurance, not intelligence. DepEd heard this concern and issued a formal clarification to set the record straight. The truth, sourced directly from the official policy, is that a general average of 90, not 95, still qualifies learners for academic excellence recognition. To be eligible, a student just needs that 90 general average, with no final grade lower than 80 in any learning area, and absolutely no serious disciplinary cases within the school year.
However, how those awards are presented has indeed changed. The old competitive tiers, with highest honors, with high honors, and with honors, have been entirely removed. They are now consolidated into a single title, Academic Excellence Awardee. Furthermore, schools are now ordered to list awardees alphabetically rather than by numerical rank. So your action line here is to make sure your school lists awardees alphabetically. This policy is explicitly designed to promote fairness and reduce unhealthy, toxic competition among our learners.
Let's wrap this up with Section 6, the Teacher Action Checklist. We've covered a lot of ground today, so let's translate this policy into structured, immediate actions you can take as soon as this explainer ends.
So teachers should now take these 4 immediate steps. Number 1, stop grading formative training mode tasks. Save your energy and your red ink for what actually matters. Number 2, pace out your summative assessments strictly to the new DepEd limits so nobody burns out. Number 3, review your assessment plans right now to ensure you're accounting for that heavy 50% weight placed on performance tasks. And number 4, begin preparing your students for zero-based grading.
Now you might be wondering, why prepare them for zero-based grading now? Because while we're using an adjusted transmutation table this year, the school year 2027-2028 is the target year where transmutation is permanently retired. By next year, the raw grade will be the reported grade, with 75 as the absolute minimum passing mark. We need to start shifting student mindsets toward that reality today. The confusion is gone, the policy is translated, and the strategy is clear. You now have the exact blueprint for how grading, safety, and assessments work in the 2026 system. So I'll leave you with this question. Armed with this clarity, how will you apply these rules to empower your learners and help them succeed in your classroom tomorrow? Have a fantastic and impactful school year, colleagues.